Hello friends, it's Nancy from Astrology and Angel Mediums today with a shadow work reading for Pisces season. So now that the sun has moved into Pisces, I kind of wanted to see what are some things that are maybe going to be coming up and maybe some aspects or lessons that we need to pay attention to as well as be aware of as we continuously go through the energies of 2025. So I hope that this reading brings you clarity and some guidance, as well as allows you to kind of connect to the energies, while also allowing you to understand why certain energies come up for us. And I feel like shadow work is a beneficial tool, not just for our personal development, but then also for us to have a better understanding as to what are some of the themes that may be, relevant at this current moment. So let's see what we have for our tarot cards. So first we have death. Next we have, the Ace of Wands, and then also the Two of Wands reversed, which I think is funny to have them both kind of back to back. All right, now we have the Ten of Coins, and then finally we have the Eight of Cups reversed. I feel like this card has been chasing me around right now. Let's see, do we want to pull another one? Maybe I'll pull one more. I feel like I want another one. And then we have Justice reverse. Okay, lovely. All right, now let's just make sure we are straight. Like our view over here. Okay, so let's kind of move these guys over a little bit. I also want to pull the oracle cards that I will be reading today. I love using this Making Magic Oracle. So today we have Insight. And then I feel like I want to pull one more. And we have the Sun. All right, so let's move on. We have our this is the Dark Mirror Oracle. So here we have Hiding Your True Self. And then finally, I'm going to pull a card from the Dark Magic Oracle. Oh, that's funny that this one's upright or the wrong way. Maybe that was a message for myself. And then we have Mirror. And I want to pull one more. Reveal. I think that makes sense. All right, so let's try to get everything in frame here so that everything looks nice. You guys can let me know what you guys think of these cards and these readings. I try to share different stuff on here. I think will be fun. And I know it's not like a pick a pile, but we try to make everybody happy. Okay. So let's get started and get into it. With the tarot cards, the very first card we have here is going to be death. And so to me, this can just really symbolize that maybe we feel like we're at the end of the journey. Maybe we feel like there's something that we're ready to kind of release and let go of in order for us to be able to move forward. And so there may be the potential for something to have a little bit of a rebirth, so to speak. And with this being a shadow work reading, to me, this is almost saying maybe there's some stuff within ourselves that we haven't really mastered and let go of. And so our guides are kind of here saying hey, you have to learn to let go. It's a natural part of the cycle. It's a natural part of life. We have to just kind of move with this energy. And so we're given this opportunity to look at maybe some of the stuff that we've been hanging on to that is no longer viable. Maybe we've been avoiding some of the things that need to be let go of. Maybe we've been resistant to the changes that come. And to me, this is also very relevant because as someone that follows astrology, I kind of feel like the actual real true year does not begin until the sun moves into Aries. So to me, it's very much like trying to kind of move back into understanding this energy. So to me, death can really be representative of an understanding of what we need to release and let go of. With it being a major card, again, there's major themes that are coming up with this energy. I feel as we're kind of moving into the spring equinox and, really truly starting the year, we're kind of given this energy of we have to kind of let things end. We have to let things go. Maybe there's something within our own personal lives that we've been resistant to, being able to move on from. Now, death is a natural part of the life cycle. And I think for many of us, this is more of an emphasis on some sort of metaphorical death, something that maybe is no longer giving us the opportunity to grow from. And so I think with this being a shadow work card, it's almost saying like, hey, maybe there is a little bit of this sense of you have to let go of something. We have to kind of move on from certain energies in order for us to really find what will be beneficial for us moving forward, for us to really see the potential and the growth of what is trying to come together here. So I think death is here as a reminder of we have to kind of just move with the flow and just let it be what it needs to be and not have so much fear about what comes next or having to feel like we're trying to control how this will look moving forward. So there is a little bit of this kind of strange energy around death in general, I feel, for like a lot of people. Excuse me. But I think that death is an invitation for rebirth, an invitation to surrender and let go and to understand that everything that is in nature will end, right? All things have a living cycle. And so the death card is here as a reminder that there is something that is no longer willing to continue forward. And so maybe the way of life that we've been living, maybe some of the things that we've been thinking about, the things that we've been valuing or, focusing on are no longer viable for what is trying to happen as we kind of move out of this energy. Now, next up, we have the Ace of Wands, which is typically a card that really talks about new vitality, of moving into something like creative and having a sense of momentum and movement and like a sense of kind of going back out into the world. So to me, this is very much a card that says like, find your light and let it shine. Find that part of yourself that really connects to this energy. And so I feel like with the Ace of Wands, it's almost saying like, what is being presented to you here? What is it that's within you that is kind of saying like, this is what I want to focus on. This is what I need. What opportunities can I take advantage of before I kind of move into the next thing, before I kind of move into the possibilities of my life looking different and feeling different. So there's a lot of potential with the energy of this card. And with this being a shadow work reading is that maybe there's things that have been highlighted or aspects of your life that have been kind of coming up as far as like, really asking you what seeds have you been planting towards the things that you are connected to, the things that you feel driven by, the things that you feel passionate about. And if you haven't really been following through on that, this is, again, that reminder that it's like whatever has died away and no longer viable, it's an opportunity for you to still open up a new door towards something that feels a little bit more in alignment with yourself, something a little bit more creative, something a little bit more in, that vein of this is what's driving me. This is what makes me feel excited. Now, since it is an ace, the energy is not going to be quite as intense or quite as mature as one of the later, numbers in the suit. Now, next to that, we have the Two of Wands reversed. I think that this is almost saying like, maybe we're too caught up in some of the details, or maybe we're not paying enough attention to the details, because the Two of Wands is a card of strategy, of planning, of making sure that we are laying the groundwork for what it is that we need in order for us to move into the next thing. So the Two of Wands may be saying like, hey, maybe you're not paying enough attention to what your schedule is, or maybe you're not paying enough attention to what your strategy will be moving forward, or what it is that you will do. So this is not a time to just kind of lie in wait or to you know, just be like, I'm just going to go with the flow. And I know Pisces season can feel very much like that sort of energy of just like, I'm just trying to go with the flow. I'm just trying to do what's happening and go with it. But we are moving towards the end of the, degrees for Neptune being in Pisces. So it is almost like saying, like, what have we learned? What have we been doing? What have we been focusing on? It's been in Pisces for the last like 14 years. And so a lot of us may be reflective on what have I learned? What do I believe in? What do I really value when it comes to certain things? What have I done with my dreams? So there may be this kind of like pulling back motion of like an arrow that can really feel like it's intensifying, because we're getting that like pull back of like, am I on the right track? Am I doing the right things? And so the Two of Wands reversed, I think, is kind of that invitation to say, all right, what are you going to do moving forward? What have you been planning? How, you can't just kind of fly by the seat of your pants. You need to perhaps be a little bit more directed in what it is that you're trying to do with this energy and how it's going to manifest for you moving forward. So I think the Two of Wands here is, again, kind of that invitation to say, have I been making the right plans? Have I been focusing on the right sort of energies? Have I been intentional with where I'm spending my time and what is kind of requiring a lot of my time at this point? So I think the Two of Wands is here as a reminder that maybe we need to kind of not just let our excitement for the new be what distracts us from making a plan and doing something that's a little bit more solid moving forward. So I know that a lot of people focus on the energy of planning and strategizing in January because it's like the beginning of the year. But I feel like this is almost saying like, hey, astrologically the year is going to begin, so we have to like be a little bit more intentional and mindful as far as like what it is that we're actually trying to do. And maybe it is about looking at what sort of things are out of balance or out of harmony for us, what sort of things feel like they are draining us or not really allowing us to show up in authentic ways. Moving on, we have the 10 of Coins. Now this is typically a card of like everything coming together, being very happy, everything feeling very settled, especially in the more physical way. So with your financial situation, your career, your home, your physical body, your physical health, things of that nature. Now, with this being a shadow work reading is that maybe we've been too focused on physically what's going on. And so maybe we are a little bereft spiritually or, creatively or intuitively. And I think that with the the 10 of Coins, I was looking at the 8 of Cups, which is coming up. The 10 of Coins here is kind of saying like how we've been so focused on going after this diamond that we're kind of neglecting these other elements within ourselves or neglecting other aspects of ourselves that maybe also need a lot of our attention. Like, are we aware of, what is physically going on with us? Are we paying attention to what we have in our physical spaces? There may be some big shifts and changes that need to happen in order for us to really feel like we've reached the culmination of the suit or the culmination of the lessons of the pentacles or coins in this deck. So I think in essence, it's kind of reminding us that maybe what we have been prioritizing or what we've been working so hard towards, we may have this like recognition that, oh, I'm actually really not happy with what is going on or how I have built my life in this direction. And I'm only saying that because this is a shadow work reading. So maybe it is kind of asking us to reflect on what we have been working towards, what we have valued, what we have prioritized, and where we have focused a lot of our physical energy, and if it's making sense for what it is that we want moving forward. Now, next that I have the 8 of Cups reversed. And again, this is almost saying like maybe emotionally we know that we're ready to move on from something, but we have not taken the right action steps towards moving away from certain things or choosing to kind of move in a different way. I think with the 8 of Cups reversed, because I feel like I've been getting this card quite a bit in my own personal readings and things of that nature, is that maybe we understand that intuitively we have disconnected. We're ready to kind of cut our losses and kind of move forward. I feel like the eights in tarot can really signify a lot of crossroads, or a lot of this like option of really having to stick to the choices that we make. But it also can be very much a card of like structure and understanding our personal strengths so that we can kind of move into the next thing. And so I think the Eight of Cups reversed here is kind of saying like maybe we're so focused on like what we might potentially lose that we're still not making a choice. We're still not making a decision. And like they say, not making a choice is still a choice. So I think with this being kind of more internalized, it's kind of saying like maybe you're too focused on, well, what are my options or what are my choices? And there's still a little bit of this sense of like disillusionment or not really seeing things quite as clearly. And I think having the light of the Ace of Wands above it, it's almost saying like, you need to learn how to trust yourself, and you need to kind of move into things that light you up, things that feel supportive for you. And it'll make it a little bit clearer when you're moving away from some of this energy. Now, finally, for the tarot cards, we have Justice reversed. I think that this is really kind of saying like, we're just feeling like things are just not really harmonized. Things are not really coming together the way that we thought they were going to. Maybe we feel like justice is really not being served in some ways. And I think with Justice is that it is very much a card of like truth and empowerment, and again, just justice in general, like that fairness, that law and order. So we may feel like things are not really coming together the way that we would like them to or had anticipated. And given that the Two of Wands reversed is above it, it's almost saying like, again, we're kind of being told that it's hard for us to make a plan if we don't know where the plan may lead, or if we don't really know what to anticipate. So a lot of what we're focused on can be very scattered, can be very like hard for us to kind of pinpoint where to kind of direct this energy and what's going on. So we may not see that things are coming together the way that we had anticipated, or we may feel like things are not really moving in the way that we would like. We're also about to kind of enter into eclipse season. And so we're kind of getting this like urge of like, what are the eclipses bringing up for us? They're going to be on the Pisces and Virgo axis, I believe. And so it is going to be very much of that intentionality as far as like what we believe and what we're actually doing in our physical lives, that allows us to kind of find that balance between these two aspects and elements of ourselves. And so I think Justice reverse is here to kind of say like something is not coming together, something is just not clicking the way that it should. And if we kind of just move back into the energy of death for the very first card, is that maybe it's saying, hey, there's something that you haven't let go of. So of course things are not going to balance out. Things are not going to work the way that you thought they were going to, because you're refusing to kind of let some stuff go, whether that's physical items, physical things that maybe for so long you've been hanging on to them and you're refusing to kind of let them go. So it makes it challenging for things to balance out and for things to kind of come together, or for a sense of truth to really be a part of the lesson for yourself moving forward. So I think that these cards are kind of saying like, we need to focus on where we haven't let go of certain things. What is it that really is lighting us up and pushing us forward, while also not just trying to move into it super intuitively. I think that it's more of a reminder that we need to be more intentional. We need to make a strategy. We need to make a plan for what comes next, while also understanding that there may be some things that we have to let go of that we've been hanging on to physically, while also understanding that emotionally we may be feeling a little bit blocked and find it challenging to actually let go of certain things. And at the end of the day, balance is something that is not always easy, and so it may not always come to us in ease. And so in order for us to really move into the next thing, we may have to learn to let go of having to have things so clear cut or cleanly cut away, if that makes sense. And I think that's kind of what the message is with these cards. Now I'm going to move on to the oracle cards that I pulled. Very first one we have here is going to be Insight. So this is about opening the third eye to strengthen your intuition. Now, Pisces is a highly intuitive sign. I think for a lot of us, we start to feel kind of like that nudge, that pull, that energy during Pisces season. And I think a lot of this is kind of saying like we need to be very aware of like, what are we picking up on? What sort of insights are we receiving? What sort of things are coming up for us? Like, what are our dreams telling us? What are our intuitive, like gut feelings telling us? I think for many of us, we're so disconnected from our physical selves that we've kind of forgotten that, you know, it is a beautiful tool to have at your disposal and to use consistently. So I think with this being a shadow work reading, it's almost saying like maybe we haven't been listening to our guts. Maybe we're trying to just kind of wait. And we're like in standby mode, like, oh, I don't know. But a lot of us are kind of picking up on this energy that things are coming to a culmination, you know, they're coming to a head. And yet so many of us are kind of like, well, I'll wait till something changes, or I'll wait until, you know, things really pop off and then maybe I'll make a choice. Which then that also makes it more challenging to kind of say, well, I don't want to preemptively do something before, you know, something actually comes to a point. And I think with insight, as someone that is, you know, does this professionally and, you know, also has a normal human life a lot of the time, anytime that I have not listened to these insights or to these feelings, things did come to a head in a way that made it even more challenging for me to move on from. And I'm only saying that because I feel like this card is kind of saying like, strengthen your intuition, strengthen your sense of trusting that muscle, trusting that within yourself. Maybe you've been questioning, you know, like, why am I picking up on this? Or why does it feel this way? Or whatever. And I'm not trying to be like an alarmist or anything like that, but I think it's more of just having that connection to yourself and kind of saying like, okay, why do I feel this way? Or why is it that these things feel very like real to me, or like they make sense, or whatever. So I think insight is just here as a reminder that maybe you haven't been listening. And so that is going to be a big part of you connecting a little bit more. Next to that, we have the sun, which is the golden energy of the sun, brings fame and fortune. I think that this is more of the realization that you maybe haven't really been living in alignment with what feels connected for you, what feels like in essence what your soul is really trying to do at this time. Maybe you've been a little bit distracted by the physical things in life and some of the challenges that have emotionally come up, as well as like how hard it is to make a strategy and plan in certain elements and areas of your life. And so I think the sun is kind of telling us like, hey, as much as we may feel like things are not working out the way that we had intended, or things are kind of bleak, or things are kind of like, you know, extremely challenging in a lot of different ways, the sun is kind of telling you like, let's move back into that golden energy of, you know, finding the warmth, creating the warmth, finding the things that are more in alignment with what makes our soul happy. I think this is also a reminder that, you know, the days are lengthening. We're moving towards spring. We're moving towards the beginning of the next season, the beginning of the year, essentially, of just kind of moving out of the dreariness and the darkness and the, you know, kind of cold energy that we've been feeling. And I don't know where you guys live, but I know especially where I'm living, there's a lot of winter going on, and it's been extremely cold this year. But the sun is kind of saying like, okay, we have to kind of like make the joy. We have to kind of move into this energy. And maybe for our shadow work, it's almost saying like, we're not illuminating certain things, or we're not focusing on where this energy is trying to take us. Now for the other oracle cards, for the dark mirror card, we have hiding your true self. I think that this is almost saying that just like the sun, we're not allowing ourselves to shine as we are meant to. And I think for many of us, we're, you know, kind of feeling like it's hard to really truly show up in our authentic ways, or maybe we feel like we will be judged, or, you know, like, again, kind of like it's hard for us to kind of walk in that part of ourselves because maybe other people have rejected us. And so I think hiding your true self is a reminder that maybe you need to find your true self. You've been forgetting how much of that will really allow you to move in so many different ways and bring in the sort of energy that you're looking for in various elements of your life. So I think hiding your truth self is almost saying that we're not doing anyone a service by closing ourselves off and not showing up in authentic ways. And so I think hiding your true self is kind of saying like, hey, right now it may feel like it's scary to show up as you are, but it is very interesting because we also got the mirror and reveal card, right? So it's almost saying like, reflect yourself. Look at, why are you hiding your true self? What sort of insights have you been neglecting to kind of connect to? And maybe it's really about learning how to express the real you and really shining in the sun kind of energy of, that's what's going to allow you to feel more connected with your life. That's what's going to allow you to feel more authentically yourself in so many different ways. So maybe there's stuff that we need to let go of so that you can really truly shine the way that you've been meaning to, so that things can really come together and you can really establish yourself in new ways. So I think the mirror card is just kind of telling you like, hey, maybe there's stuff within you that you've been, not paying attention to or not really listening to in some ways. And so it is time to really like unravel those limitations that you've kind of placed upon yourself so that you can really express who you really truly are and show up in ways that feel a lot more connected to you. And I think that's why they're saying like, stop hiding yourself, stop hiding who you are, stop hiding what is going on here, and really show up the way that you were meant to show up. So I think overall, the shadow work for this season, for Pisces season, will really be about learning how to show up as our authentic and true selves, really shining a light on the different elements and aspects of ourselves that maybe we've been limiting ourselves on, or maybe where we have felt like we can't authentically show up in some ways. And so I think that overall, there may be some things that we need to learn to let go of so that we can really move into the energy of finding that balance and feeling like things are finally really coming together. So I hope that this shadow work reading made sense for you. I want to say thank you so much for joining me. Please take care, stay safe, and as always, make good choices. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.